askari.
Alafu mheshimiwa, wewe naona mimi na sasa heka. Mimi nilikuwa na kijana moja. Na yeye alikuwa na mitoto tatu.
Ulikuwa na hizo kitu umeseka. Market hakuna kitu nimeipa na akamalizia amathifu. Kwa hivyo mheshimiwa, mimi sijaipa.
Daima mimi huwapa langoni na linda.
Hawa wenzako wapeleka wapi watu wasiokuwa na hatia lakini wamemuudhi kiongozi wako?
Utakapojaribu kuondoka, utakivunja moyo kisiwa hiki chote.
Kwa nini?
Wewe unaona ni sawa?
Kwani kosa liko wapi?
Umjui bura. Wewe unaona ni mimi na raha kwenye ndoa hili.
Uwezaje kuacha mimi barafu ya moyo wako kena kufuatana na kijakazi?
Niko hapa na ukicheza hiyo nafasi unayoringia nitakuhukumu.
Subutu. Hapa ni nyumbani kwangu Karembo. Nitafanya vile ninavyotaka.
Zamani hizo soma katiba mpya utanielewa.
Public announcer. It is not Njayandi, it is Njanjanjati. Can we go now back to the birthday party?
Niaze. Yaani tuseme kukiwa na sherehe huwezi sherewa.
Nachelewa mchinjiwe na nani?
What nonsense is this? What nonsense is this?
Shauri yao. Okay, so we go out. And then we return to my house. Deal?
Yes, deal. Public announcer. It is not Njayandi, it is Njanjanjati. Can we go now back to the birthday party?
Niaze. Yaani tuseme kukiwa na sherehe huwezi sherewa.
Nachelewa mchinjiwe na nani?
What nonsense is this? What nonsense is this?
Shauri yao. Okay, so we go out. And then we return to my house. Deal?
Yes, deal.
Welcome to our broadcast at this hour, and congratulations to the over 900,000 students who are able to sit for the KCSE 2024 who have just received their results. And if you're just wondering where you can get them through the Kenya National Examination Council website. And of course, it was read out by none other than the Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos, who will be sharing those views in just a few. And of course, the results are out, and the ministry is urging the public, especially parents, to ensure that they get to see what their children scored before they move over to the other part of their education career. Now, the 2024 KCSE exams took place in 10,755 centers with a record high of 965,512 candidates sitting for the exams, an increase from the 903,138 who sat for those exams in 2023. Now, according to the ministry, this is an increase of 7.19%, which is the highest since 2020. You do know that this particular lot that have received this particular result is that they sat an exam at the COVID-19 era. They were able to sit through the examinations from the COVID-19 era, and some of the calamities rather, that were experienced in the country when it comes to drought as well as floods. But before I continue with what I was saying, let's listen to the Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Julius Ogamba, who was announcing those results earlier on at Mtiani House.
in which the overall grade at KCSE examination has considered mathematics the best performed language among three, that is English, Kiswahili, Kenyan Sign Language, and the best performed 5 subjects. There were 1,693 or 0.18% candidates who obtained an overall grade A in the year 2024 KCSE examination compared to 1,216 or 0.14% candidates in 2023. The number of candidates with direct university entry qualifications of grade C+ and above was 246,391, translated to 25.53% in the year 2024, compared to 201,133, which is 22.27% in the year 2023. And this is attributed to the improved or new grading system. The number of candidates with grade C-, which is TVET diploma and above, was 476,889, translated to 49.41% in the year 2024 KCSE examination, compared to 401,216, which is translated to 44.42% in 2023. The number of candidates attaining a pass grade, which is grade D+ and above, was 605,774, which is 62.76% in the year 2024 KCSE examination, compared to 526,222, which is 58.27% in 2023. To enhance the credibility of the examination process, for the first time, candidates' examination question papers was personalized and anonymized. This helps to improve objectivity during marking and holding candidates personally responsible for any irregularities. There were 840 candidates who were involved in examination irregularities in 2024, and their examination results have been cancelled. The Council is empowered in law as provided in the Kenya National Examination Council, Handling of Examination Irregularities, Rules of 2015, Legal Notice number 132 of 2015, Rule number 8, to withhold the results of any candidate or examination center suspected of having been involved in an examination irregularity or malpractice pending completion of investigations. To this end, the results of 2,829 candidates suspected to have involved in the examination irregularities have been withheld pending completion of investigations that should be completed within a period of 30 days from the official release of examination results, which is today. It is unfortunate that a few contracted professionals and teachers are still insistent on ruining the future of our learners by subjecting them to examination malpractices. 91 contracted professionals were reported to have been involved in aiding examination malpractices. Firm disciplinary action will be taken against such teachers. Individual 2024 KCSE candidate examination results will be accessed online through a secure link on the NEC website or directly through the following website: https://results.nec.ac.ke. Candidates will be required to enter the candidate's index number and any one of the names as per the registration data for the 2024 examination results. The results will be available immediately after the end of this function. Any candidate with difficulties in accessing individual results is advised to call NEC toll-free number 080-0724-900 or 080-0721-410. It is now my humble duty and privilege to declare the 2024 KCSE examination results officially released. I wish all the candidates success in their future endeavors, and I wish all of you a happy new year 2025. Thank you and God bless you.
And of course, that was earlier on where the Education Cabinet Secretary Julius Migos Ogamba, and if you have witnessed the difference this time around, they were unable to announce the people who are leading, especially the top 10 students and the top schools, which is a major change. And of course, the major announcement there as well is that the 2027 year will be the last year that will witness the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, where the students who are currently residing in Form 2 right now will be the last cohort to sit for this particular examination, putting an end to a 38-year-old exams that are set to come to an end by the year 2027. Now let's get some reactions from various quarters. Let's head over to Kisumu, where we do understand our very own Simon Achola is currently standing by at Kisumu Girls. Simon, good afternoon. If you can hear me, what are the results in that particular institution?
Fantastic, Hashim. Indeed, we are in Kisumu County, and specifically where I am standing, I am actually standing in Kisumu Girls, one of the good or well-performing schools here in Kisumu County. And as I speak to you right now, we can actually feel the excitement in the staff room. Teachers have actually been hard at work, just trying to put together the results so that then they can actually make sense out of the results that are actually trickling in. And as we speak right now, we've just been talking to the school deputy principal, and he says that they are still trying as much as they can to put everything together before they can actually give us the results. So he says we'll have to give him time before he can actually come out and speak to us. But what I can assure you, Hashim, is that there's that excitement in the staff room. Teachers have actually been celebrating, and also you can actually just sense the excitement that comes with good results. But Hashim, what I would also tell you for a fact is that this region has a tendency of throwing surprises in terms of the schools that are actually performing well. There are traditional schools that are actually known to perform well, Maseno, Kisumu Girls, and Nia Girls, and very many other schools that are actually known to perform well. But once in a while, we see small schools actually throwing surprises and actually posting very impressive results. So, of course, Hashim will be keeping a keen eye on exactly what is actually happening here in Kisumu Girls, and, of course, very many other schools in this region, so that then we can actually bring to our viewers and listeners what exactly will be happening in this region. Hashim, from here, will be actually be moving to Maseno and other schools that have actually that we actually feel that have actually already started telling us they're actually posting very impressive results, and of course we'll be bringing that to our listeners where they are. Hashim, back to you.
Well, Simon, before I let you go, have you been able to at least even ask those particular institutions in Kisumu County how they progressed from the last KCSE result, which was in 2023, and now with 2024? Have you been able to gauge how the county has performed so far, if you have any statistics with you? Well, Simon, if you can hear me once more, I wanted to know if you have at least a little bit of statistics of how Kisumu, at least one of that particular institutions that you're currently in, how they progressed from last year's KCSE results to this year's, as we wait for the principal to look at least at the 2024 results. Well, unfortunately, it seems we have lost Simon Achola there, and apologies for that. That is our very own Simon Achola in Kisumu, just bringing us up to speed on how some of the institutions who are currently trying to access the NEC portals or website, which is the https://results.nec.ac.ke, to get the results of that particular institution. You even know that this year around it is a little bit different. The ministry did not provide an SMS code, which has always been a custom. He has also even told institutions to reach out to the NEC headquarters to at least get access to those results of their particular institutions. As we continue assessing, this is the situation in Kisumu. We're trying to link up with our various reporters who are dispatched across the country to bring us up to speed. Given that we are sifting through the numbers, we want to know what are those particular institutions that are currently leading the top students in this particular country and how students have been able to perform. And of course, the other statistics that has just been issued by the Ministry of Education is that slightly over 200,000 at least have scored a C+ and above, and over 2,000 results of certain students will be withheld due to exam malpractices, and of course 91 people are being investigated, especially those who are overseeing those examinations due to exam malpractices. This is a story we're keeping an eye on, and of course you can also engage us. Tell us how your son or daughter has performed through our various channels, of course KBC Channel 1 and on all social media platforms at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. Now with me on set right now is Kikech Kombo. He is an author of KCSE. He has interacted with this particular examination as well as a CBC, mostly in the Department of Kiswahili and Geography. Kombo, thank you so much for joining us. It is a little bit different from previous years where we witnessed where the 2023 KCSE exams, you will even see the CS mentioning the top 10 students, the top 10 schools. Yeah. So how did you find this time around? Was it a little bit different from last year's?
Yeah, this time round, thank you for inviting me. I think this time round is a bit different, and the way they have taken a different approach. And I think every year there have been a metamorphosis in terms of announcing the KCSE results. Mm-hmm. And I think this has been one of the issues of curbing these things of exam cheating and all that, because you see now the schools have been capitalizing on the idea of performing well and also probably pulling students, and especially the private schools. So what they have been looking at, what are some of these factors that are contributing for mostly exam cheating and all that. So they have been trying to reduce this, and you see now this time around they have not announced they have not mentioned about the schools that have done well, the students. But I think it's also some point of disappointment for especially those students who have done well, and they could have probably wanted to see their records as what they achieved during the KCP exam and the result they have achieved in the KCSE exams. Because once you be able to monitor your progress record, I think that would have been very good, but it's a disappointment for them. But each year there's a different methods that the Ministry of Education has been employing in terms of releasing the KCSE results. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And of course, Kombo, we have also witnessed what the CS was talking about, where the results of 2,829 candidates suspected to have been involved in examination irregularities will be withheld, and we have 91 contracted professionals reported to have been involved in aiding in those examination malpractices. Given that you have interacted with this particular examination materials, at which point would you see some of these cases being recorded, and compare this to the number of times you've interacted with this particular examination materials? Is the number going high in terms of the number of professional people who are engaging in exams malpractices?
Yeah, like this year, last year's exam, I think it was quite unfortunate, because now when you see the professionals are also getting involved in exam irregularity, it's not fair at all, because what they are supposed to do in school, they are supposed to prepare these students for exam, and these students, they normally sit for exams, and there are quite a number of exams that they do. We have the regional exams, we have the internal exams, which these students are given and they are monitored. So that means also that probably even during this internal exam, there are malpractices that are being taken. Still, probably there's also pressure from the parents, pressure from the sponsors who want these schools to do well, the teachers also to have to post good results, and that's where probably the issues have been coming in. But it's quite disappointing, and now especially for the parents, because the parents have prepared their kids and they have paid their fees for the last 4 years, and they expect the results at the end. But this time around, they are not getting the results, so it's a big disappointment for the parents. But it's quite unfortunate for these guys who've been trained to guide students at school, but at the end of it, they are also now getting involved in the irregularity of the exams. It's quite unfair.
Mm-hmm. And of course, you've just witnessed the number, slightly over 900,000 students who are able to sit for last year's examinations. This is a cohort that back in 2020, you do remember what was happening in the country, COVID-19. After COVID-19, we witnessed natural calamities like drought and floods. with all that in mind, how do you gauge their performance?
I think they have tried, because what normally happened during that particular time, they closed and they were at home for more than 7 months at home. But when they went back, you see now what the Ministry of Education came up with a new calendar where the teachers were able to cover. And to remember, they were just closing for a week, unlike in the past where they were closing for 3 to 4 weeks. But now they were able to cover. So I think there was no issue with the syllabus coverage, because it was covered and they were prepared, although it was quite a lot of pressure in terms of they were not being given an opportunity. And the way you understand about the 844 system is a theoretical system. It's a very demanding education system. So I think this, when they post such a results, it's good to show that I think the students, they tried. Probably also the pressure now also went to the others, the 900 and the others who results are being still held, so they could not be able to manage that particular pressure. Yeah.
And of course, you do remember through the introduction of KCSE itself, we had to say goodbye to the predominant one, which was the Kenya Certificate of Primary Education, commonly known as KCP. Now we do have KCSE. But in terms of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education, you've even heard from the CS himself. He has clearly stated that in 2027, that will be the last cohort, which they are currently informed to. So in terms of the change that we're witnessing through the education system, this examinations has been there for the last 38 years now. So was a change warranted?
Yeah, it is, because now we need to, when you have done quite a lot of research on this competence-based education system, and I've gone further to look on the countries the way they have done. I was looking at United States of America, I looked at Britain, the way they have handled the KBC education system. In Africa, Ghana is much ahead of us, and South Africa. When you look at East African countries, Tanzania and Uganda, they're also doing well with the current competence-based education system. So I think it was time for us to catch up with the education system and to change from theoretical to instruction method, where the students now they participate and they get involved in the classrooms. So I think the 844 system, now the time has come, and now we'll be able to give it. And we've seen quite a lot of demerits with the education 844 education system, where they have myriads of challenges. But now with the CBC system, I think now this thing, I think they'll be able to reduce, and the kids will be able to move to the education system. And this time around, the grade 9 will be doing their summative exam this year. So we expect them now to have, when they go to high school, they'll give a different approach in the education system in the high school. And I hope the ministry is already preparing the tutors and the teachers to handle those students who will be joining high school next year.
And of course, going back to some of the results, you just even mentioned it, where we have over 201,133 representing to at least 22.27% in the year 2023, and of course that can be attributed to the changing grading system. This year alone, we have witnessed over slightly the same number, over 200,000 of them going now to the university, while the rest can even join colleges and TVET institutions that are availed in the country. In terms of being an expert, and in terms of ensuring that the continuity is a little bit progressive, it's progressing, and in terms of the 100% transition that the government has to institute in all levels of education in the country, how do you see, or how do you gauge some of these students joining some of these particular institutions, given that we have seen in this particular current administration where the government is advocating more for TVET institutions to have skilled labor workers?
Okay, the number of joining the high institution is limited, and even from this particular the performance, you find that they'll be able. They might come up with a cut-off system, and you remember there's a time even cut-off system went up to a mean grade of B, unlike now in 2016 during the Matiang'i's time went down back to a C+. But this time around now it will depend with the availability of space in the institution of high learning, and I think the Ministry of Education is prepared in that. But with the TVET system, and it's one of the key areas where those ones who performed in different categories will be able to join different institutions, and they'll be able to focus on the best courses that they'll be able to tackle at those particular institutions. But now as the number increases, that means also the number of spaces facilities will be able to also be increased in the institution of high learning to be able to accommodate the number as it increases. Because also this thing is also in relation to our population. So population by then, it was around 48,000. Now we are moving to 56 million people. Sorry, for 48 million. Now we are moving to 58 million. So every year they expect to have some additional spaces in this particular institution and in institutions that be able to accommodate these graduates who are graduating from the high school. Yeah.
And as we're coming to an end to our conversation here, there was also something interesting what the CS clearly talked about in terms of when it comes to the gender, the male and female. We have witnessed, according to the report that is shared by the ministry, that 14 counties, at least predominantly, we saw more male than females. Counties like Garissa, Mandera, Wajir, Turkana, Samburu and others, while in another 14 counties there were more females than male candidates this last year, where counties like Vihiga, Elgeyo Marakwet, Kirinyaga, Meru. What does it even say about the gender balance in these particular examination centers?
Yeah, okay. When you look at the counties, these are normally those where we're having a few female candidates sitting for exam. These are normally predominantly the marginalized communities, and you know, they are so much within their focus so much on the traditional aspect that really affected the girls from going back to school. But we have the non-governmental organization, the government also been moving in and supporting their program. They have been setting up schools in those particular areas, and also kind of disseminating of the information so that girls can be able to go to school. But we have been having issues of early marriages, and also the issue of the communities focusing so much on the boy child and like the girl child, so it's affected the population. But as we compare to the previous years, probably 90s and early 2000, you find that the numbers of the girls in those particular communities, they have gone up, but still they are yet to meet the required percentage. But it's just about the information, going out to educate the communities on the importance of the girl child going to school, and also setting up the right measures for these particular girls to be in school. And I think with time, it will be able to catch up with the other communities. But still, when you look at the other communities like the Western Kenya, where they focus so much on education, they have prioritized education. And given that when you look at those particular gender, even when you go to population statistics, you'll find that the girls are more than the boys, and you find that still it stipulates back to the statistics of being in school, where you will find more girls are in school, because these communities are sending all the kids to school, and that's why we have to have the more girls in school compared to the boys. Yeah.
And Mr. Kombo, your final remarks, given that we have come to the end of our conversation here.
Yeah, so thank you. It's not the end of the world. Those who who've not performed well, they can still go back, and given an opportunity, the government will also give you an opportunity. Those who didn't sit for the exam, I think the government has given them an opportunity. They'll set a date where they'll sit for the exam, so they should keep on revising. And still, one can join any college, and you do probably certificate, you go back, you do your diploma certificate, and you do your degree. So once you remain within what your target, you'll always be able to get it. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. Kikech Kombo. He is an author of this particular examinations that are even released today when it comes to Kiswahili and Geography. That is the KCSE and the, of course, competency-based curriculum itself. Thank you for making time for us. And of course, he's just clearly stated it is not the end of the world for the students who are currently receiving their results, and you have not progressed well or performed well in that matter, but it is not the end of the world. You've just heard there. And of course, the various institutions across the country are currently trying to even go to the Kenya National Examination Council website, given that that is the designated area where people have been asked to at least access the results of an institution or for your son or your daughter. Once again, talk to us. You can reach out to us on our various social media platforms at KBC Channel 1 and at Abdiaziz Hashim 2. Tell us about how your students have been able to progress. We're taking a short breather. When we come back, we'll update you on other stories making headlines at this hour.
Is broken up, it's calling out your name.
Katika mlango wa kuwafanyia wazazi wema, tumeamrishwa tuwaheshimu na pia tuwakirimu na tuwazungumzishe kwa kauli za heshima na pia kauli zenye kuwaonyesha kuwa tunawapenda hata watakapokuwa wao ni wazee.
Na wazazi wawili kuwafanyia wema. Lakin mu'sifun jiddan Inasikitisha mno sana anajida tupate mtu na hiyo ndo wake.
Allahumma salli ala sayyidina ya Mustafa.
Daima mimi huwapa langoni na linda.
Hawa wenzako wapeleka wapi watu wasiokuwa na hatia lakini wamemudhi kiongozi wako?
Utakapojaribu kuondoka, utakivunja moyo kisiwa hiki chote.
Kwa nini?
Wewe unaona ni sawa?
Kwani kosa liko wapi?
Umjui bure. Wewe unaona ni mimi na raha kwenye ndoa hii.
Wawezaje kuacha mimi barafu ya moyo wako kana kufuatana na kijakazi?
Niko hapa na ukicheza hiyo nafasi unayoringia nitakuhukumu.
Subutu. Hapa ni nyumbani kwangu Karembo. Nitafanya vile ninavyotaka.
Zamani hizo soma katiba mpya utanielewa.
Once again, welcome to the broadcast. My name is Abdiaziz. Hashim, the sign language interpreter at the bottom of the screen is Baron Abuli. We're keeping an eye on Brian Muraru. Apologies for that. The Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education 2024 release exams that were just released at Mtihani House by none other than the Education Cabinet Secretary, that is Julius Migos Ogamba. We are trying to also link up with our various reporters who have been dispatched here in the capital to ascertain how those institutions have fared on. And of course, the other announcement that the ministry has been able to share with the public is that there will be an introduction of Media Kenya Certificate of Secondary examinations set to take place annually in July. So there will be Media KCSE exams that will be set in July. As and when we get more information, we'll update you. Now to other news now. 7,000 learners drawn from 12 primary schools in Kilifi and Kwale counties are set to benefit from a school feeding program supported by a cement company. The initiative, which is part of the company's corporate social responsibility, aims at retaining learners in schools and reducing absenteeism. The company's administrator, Peter Paul, pledged to ensure food items worth 2.7 million shillings are distributed to the selected schools. At the same time, he challenged schools management to ensure integrity in the distribution of the food. Assistant County Commissioner of Kambe-Rabai Division, Susan Njerenga, said the program will be key in enhancing 100% transition in school.
We have come with food materials. Our supplier is here. But for the next term, we'll be issuing the check to individual schools who will be doing the procurement of food materials.
It is helpful to the parents because there are cases where maybe some of the learners come to school in the morning on an empty stomach, and maybe in the afternoon they go back home, they find maybe there is no food in some homes, but as long as it will be here, it will sustain them.
Watoto wa kisichana ambao wanadanganywa kwa sababu majumbani kuna shida, lakini hii chakula vile mmeleta itasaidia.
So want to urge the school management to ensure accountability. When you're given the food, just ensure that each student receives the food.
Also, there was joy at the Thika Level 5 hospital after unpaid maternity bills of over 50 mothers was waived by the Kiambu County government. The new mothers were detained at the health facility owing to an accrued maternity bill of approximately 6 million shillings.
Tears of happiness and gratitude fill the Thika Level 5 hospital to these mothers who have been detained in the health facility due to accrued maternity bills learned that the Kiambu County government had waived their bills. Most of them weren't able to foot the bills that had accumulated to 6 million shillings, but will now be able to reunite with their families.
mamangu ana uwezo, alishindwa kulipa. Ni akili, nashukuru tu. Last time the update ilikuwa 100, so mimi singeweza kulipia hiyo bill. Nilikuwa na mtoto anakaa kwa nyumba peke yake. Kutoka Mungu shule hajaniona. Kutoka Mungu shule mtijani yangu hajaniona. Amekuwa mkikaa kwa nyumba peke yake mpaka jana alirudi shule hajaniona.
Kiambu County Health Executive Committee member Dr. Elias Maina urged the locals to register with the SHA and the Wamatangi card to avoid healthcare financial constraints in the future.
Kila mtu hakikishe, nimeongea na wawili watatu wameniambia already wameingia kwa wamejisajili kwa SHA. Kila mtu hapa ahakikishe amefanya hivyo.
The county has approved substantial waivers, including 3 million shillings in August 2024 and 4.1 million shillings in September 2024. Yusufar reporting for Lunchtime News.
Still on health matters, the Kenya Environmental Health and Public Health Practitioners Union has called on both the national and the county governments to prioritize the employment of public health nurses. Speaking during the election of officials in Baringo, the union's National Secretary General Brown Ashira noted that the acute shortage of public health nurses was a matter of concern and should be addressed to strengthen disease prevention efforts in the country. His sentiments were echoed by Evans Chirongoni, the newly elected Secretary General for the Baringo branch, who urged Governor Benjamin Cheboy of Baringo County to hire more public health nurses.
And as public health officers, we want to say we are not happy. We are not happy because since the promulgation of the new constitution, this country has not prioritized employing public health officers and technicians. We have been having a budgetary allocation that has skewed towards curative. And you wonder, they keep saying prevention is better than cure, but this country, we speak prevention, then we eat curative.
We are facing so many challenges. Key among them is unemployment of public health officers. We have quite a number. They have not been employed for a very long time. Previously we used to have 300 public health officers and technicians, but at the moment we are paltry 142. We demand for employment of public health officers, promotion of our public health officers and technicians.
Forever, so strong.
Now to some unfortunate news here, where 2 children aged 4 years have been burnt beyond recognition after a fire gutted down their house at Murindoko, Mwea East Sub-County in Kirinyaga County. The twins were left at home with their grandmother. Their mother was out to scout for a school which the two were set to join when the unfortunate incident happened. Area Assistant Chief Patrick Njeru says the grandmother heard a loud bang from the house, followed by an inferno. Efforts to put out the fire proved futile, and by the time firefighters from Kirinyaga County and Embu as well arrived, it was too late. The source of the fire is yet to be established.
Wakati tumesikia mayowe ikipigwa, tumekuja na watu wakatokea zaidi na tukapata moto kubwa sana.
Na walipokuwa wakifika, moto ilikuwa imeenea zaidi,
lakini unfortunately nyumba ilikuwa imechomeka beyond recognition na tukaweza kupoteza watoto wawili ambao walikuwa mapacha.
And of course, condolences to the family following that particular tragic incident. In other news now, construction works for the Mau Mau roads in central Kenya have resumed after 2 years of stalling, with the contractor now on site. Kangema residents, where part of the road passes, are optimistic that once it's complete, it will ease transport in the area where key commercial activities is agriculture. Led by the area Member of Parliament Peter Kiuhungi, the residents have, however, expressed fear over the possibility that some funds allocated to the construction of the road, a major trade artery once complete, have been diverted to other projects. They have called on the Ministry of Roads and Transport officials to ensure that the billions allocated to the project are fully absorbed through the completion of the road project.
Tuko na shida mingi sana kwa hii barabara ya Maumau. Tunaomba serikali itujengee barabara kwa maana tuko na shida mingi sana kwa ajili tunaona ukibeba customer kukiwa na mvua customer hawezi kubebwa na boda boda.
Hii barabara tunaenda kwa miguu, wagonjwa tunawabeba na magunia, walimu wanatembea miguu, watoto wa shule wanatembea miguu, majani maroli manaenda bali, sisi tunalala kwa masenta.
Our people have suffered enough and their patience has been extreme. But we wish to pray and to beg that to call upon the president. Even if we don't add more money during supplementary, let us not remove money from this road. Let's allow the contractor to remain in this contract. The money that we have can be able to move this contract maybe from 50% to around 70 or 80%, which is okay.
Elsewhere, leaders have been urged to unite and tackle the pressing issues affecting the nation. Redeemed Gospel Church Bishop Nelson Ngutu emphasized the need for unity among leaders for the sake of development. Bishop Ngutu called on leaders from across the political divide to prioritize the welfare of the people, advocate for peace, inclusivity and reconciliation. Additionally, he called for an end to cases of abductions, urging leaders to focus on addressing insecurity, poverty and unemployment.
Maombi yangu ni kwamba nchi ni nchi yetu na tutahama katika nchi yetu, na ninaomba Mungu atusaidie tukaweze kuwa kitu kimoja, watu wote, hata watu wa siasa, na pia ninaomba kila mtu afikirie juu ya Kenya. Kenya ni nchi yetu na hatutahama, tutakaa katika Kenya. Kwa hivyo tuweze kuungana katika kila jambo, na mambo hii ambao ni magumu, ambao ni agency na wale wengine wote, ikaweze kutatuliwa na njia ambao ni nzuri na ya amani. Pia ninaomba serikali na viongozi waelewe ya kwamba watoto ni watu wana maana sana. Hatuwezi kuishi bila watoto.
And on the international front, at least 5 people have died and others displaced as several wind-driven fires blazing across Los Angeles remain uncontained. The newest to break out is the Sunset Fire in the Hollywood Hills, where evacuation orders have been issued. More than 1,000 structures have been destroyed as 6 separate fires burn in and around Los Angeles, which is dotted with film stars' mansions.
More than 137,000 people have been evacuated in what has become the most destructive wildfires in Los Angeles history. Streets were gridlocked as people carried their belongings, trying to salvage what they could through the thick blanket of smoke.
A lot of these people are terrified, and they don't have a blanket, they don't have a wrap, they have nothing.
I'll be okay. I'm tough, and we'll start over. Even though I'm 91 years old, I'll start over again.
The iconic Hollywood Hill was also engulfed with flames. Celebrities including Paris Hilton, Ricky Lake, Leighton Meester and Adam Brody are among those who shared their devastation on social media after losing their homes. Firefighters who were short on water resorted to taking water from swimming pools and ponds. Nancy Okware, Lunchtime News.
Now let's get down to business. Uganda remains to be the top destination of cargo transiting through the port of Mombasa, accounting for 2/3 of transit cargo. This is according to the latest report from the Kenya Ports Authority that indicates that the total cargo handled at the port of Mombasa for the first time crossed the 2 million 20-foot equivalent units in 2024.
2024 was a good year for the port of Mombasa if the latest data on cargo handling is anything to go by. Data from the Kenya Ports Authority indicates that the port of Mombasa handled 41.1 million tons of cargo in 2024, representing a 14.1% increase on the 35.98 million tons registered in 2023. In terms of container traffic, the port crossed the 2 million units for the first time after containers handled at the facility increased 23.5%. The data indicates that transit cargo volumes through the port of Mombasa increased 17.4% to 13.4 million tons in 2024. Uganda remains the top transit cargo destination through port of Mombasa, accounting for 65.7% of the 8.8 million tons handled at the port of Mombasa in 2024. Other notable transit destinations comprise South Sudan and the Democratic Republic of Congo that jointly account for a quarter of the transit cargo. In addition, Rwanda accounted for 5.1% of the transit cargo, while 3.4% of cargo handled at the port of Mombasa was destined to Tanzania. Frederick Mwoki for Lunchtime News.
Elsewhere, Kenya is collaborating with the International Criminal Police Organization Interpol to fight illegal mining activities in the country. Mining Cabinet Secretary Hashim says illegal mining is a transnational crime that requires interboundary efforts in averting it.
Artisanal and small-scale mining activities contributed at least 30 billion shillings to Kenya's economy in 2023, accounting for over half of the country's mining output. However, despite being endowed with diverse mineral deposits, mining contributes a mere 1% to Kenya's gross domestic product, highlighting the immense untapped potential.
We are looking at enhancing our revenue base in the ministry and our contribution to GDP. We said it earlier, our target is to get to 10%. Currently, we are at 1%. But we'll be analyzing for every 6 months where we're at and what needs to be done, so we can achieve the 10% plan within the shortest possible time.
To curb illegal mining activities, Kenya will work closely with the International Criminal Police Organization.
You also realize that once you make an arrest, it doesn't end with an arrest. There is, number one, successful prosecution. Number two, recovery. You know, people talk about prosecution. But for us, we want to be able to pursue so that we recover what was stolen from the Kenyan people.
The newly inaugurated mining police unit will consist of officers from the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and other government agencies.
We have DCI and general duty officers in every village of our country. The most important conversation which we should have is the levels of coordination and the center that controls the enforcement on matters minerals.
Interpol's Project ENACT, which supports the creation of analytical units within African police authorities, is expected to enable real-time access to databases to strengthen enforcement efforts. Trevor Nginto for Lunchtime News.
Now, direct flights between Nairobi and Luanda are likely to resume in March this year following an agreement between President William Ruto and Angolan President, that is Joao. President Ruto says the resumption of the direct flights is part of efforts to strengthen diplomatic and economic ties between the two nations.
Kenya Airways suspended direct flights to Luanda, Angola in August 2020 amid the COVID-19 pandemic, in a decision that also affected non-stop flights to 7 other African destinations, such as Bamako in Mali, Brazzaville in the Republic of Congo, Mogadishu in Somalia, Khartoum in Sudan, Djibouti, Blantyre in Malawi, and Maputo in Mozambique. A meeting between President William Ruto and Angolan President João Lourenço has resolved to resume direct flights by Kenya Airways between Nairobi and Luanda. To support traffic between the two countries, the two leaders have resolved to ease travel restrictions, with Angola pledging to waive visa requirements for Kenyans visiting the country, reciprocating Kenya's earlier gesture. President Ruto says resumption of the direct flights will enable Kenyan professionals, such as teachers, to access Angola easily. According to the Kenya Airways website, the airline currently flies to 45 destinations worldwide, 37 of which are in Africa. Nduta Mokami for Lunchtime News.
And before we continue with other stories making headlines in the world of business, I want to take you live to Kisumu. We do understand we do have celebrations in that particular devolved unit following the announcement of the KCSE examinations. There you have it. That is our very own, that is Achola Simon, who is currently there. You do know after the release of that particular examinations, institutions just like the one you're witnessing on your screen, were able to access the portal and get the results, and that portal is through the https results.nec.ac.ke. We're trying to, let's get a little bit of a feel. You can see them dancing there. Let's get a sound from that particular area so that you can witness the jubilation on the faces of those students there. Well, those are the jubilations from Kisumu County. That is Mombasa Academy. You can see those students there celebrating the recently released Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. The institutions were urged to go to the Kenya National Examination Council's portal or website for that matter to get those results. It will say Mombasa Academy have gotten a chance to at least view those particular results. And any moment from now, we'll be linking up with our very own, that is Simon Achola, who is currently in that particular institution to witness some of the scenes there. You do know that once the KCSE exams were released, institutions were urged to visit the NEC websites to get the results of their institution, as well as parents have been urged also to go there so that they can view the results of their sons and daughters. And once again, congratulations to the KCSE 2024 cohort who were able to, of course, sit for those examinations for the last 4 years or so. Even the ministry told us, or the public, is that they were able to sit through these examinations on from the back of 2020. You do know what happened there in that particular year. We had COVID-19 and other natural calamities like floods and droughts. Once again, congratulations to those students. As and when we get those live images from other institutions, we'll be sharing them with you. We continue with our business stories, and now we head over beyond the seas, where global auto suppliers are working out how much of their production can be moved to the United States or closer to it as a defense against tariffs promised by President-elect Donald Trump. Most of the tariffs are aimed squarely at China, in particularly a proposal by the Biden administration to bar Chinese software and hardware from cars on U.S. roads. Here are the details of this story and others making headlines across the globe.
The auto industry has already experienced 8 years of U.S. protectionism, from real and threatened tariffs during Trump's first term, and then more tariffs in the U.S. Inflation Reduction Act under President Joe Biden. But Trump has vowed to go much further, imposing a blanket tariff of 10% on global imports into the United States and a far higher 60% tariff on Chinese goods. Meanwhile, top Australian telco Telstra is collaborating with billionaire Elon Musk's SpaceX to bring satellite connectivity technology to its regional customers. Telstra has partnered with satellite-based internet provider Starlink to bring the latter's Starlink to mobile technology to Australia, enabling the US firm to deliver satellite broadband connectivity directly to compatible mobile phones, particularly in remote areas. Telstra signed an agreement with Starlink in 2023 to offer voice-only and voice-plus broadband services in rural and remote areas of Australia. Finally, the Chinese government has expanded the list of products that people can trade in to get a discount of as much as 20% on new goods as the country tries to boost its flagging economy. The list now includes items like microwave ovens, dishwashers, rice cookers, and water purifiers. State-backed trading schemes already cover televisions, phones, tablets, and smartwatches, as well as electric and hybrid vehicles. The world's second largest economy has been facing several challenges, including weak consumer demand and a deepening property crisis. Officials say $11 billion had been earmarked this year for the consumer goods trade-in scheme.
And now finally, welcome to the world of sports. The national soccer team Harambee Stars hope to come out victorious tomorrow in their final match against host Zanzibar tomorrow evening at the Gombani Stadium in their efforts to bring home the Mapinduzi Cup. But it all depends on the outcome of the final matches with Burkina Faso up against Tanzania today. Kenya is currently at the top of the standings with 4 points, tied with Burkina Faso but leading on goal difference. Zanzibar occupies third place with 3 points, while Tanzania tails with no points. If Burkina Faso either defeats or draws against Tanzania tonight, they will move to the top of the table and await tomorrow's outcome between Harambee Stars and Zanzibar. Under the guidance of coach Francis Kimanzi, Kenya kicked off their campaign with a draw 1-1 against Burkina Faso, followed by a 2-0 win over Tanzania. The competition provides an excellent opportunity for Kenya to refine their squad ahead of the African Nations Championship CHAN, which will be co-hosted by Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania next month.
The team is taking shape, they're settling in well, and we hope that they will make it to the finals and even win the cup. This is just the beginning of what we intend to do for the national team and for the country at large.
And we wish all the Harambee Stars players all the best as they attempt to bring this particular trophy home. Congratulations, lads, and let's continue. Now, Tottenham Hotspurs redeemed themselves after a series of inconsistent results with a narrow 1-0 win against Liverpool last night at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Lucas scored the only goal in North London in the 87th minute to put Tottenham 1 foot in the Carabao Cup final. Liverpool will fight back in the second leg next month to see if they can reinforce their recent dominance and advance to the Carabao Cup final.
Fights Trent Alexander-Arnold off the line by Dragusin. Pulls ball forward. Solanke all on his own. It'll be a tight call this, but Solanke has put the ball in the back of Liverpool's net. The flag stays down. Oh, so you're going to hear him announce this decision here.
After review, Dominic Solanke was in an offside position in the build-up to the goal.
Canate against Solanke. Bergvall.
The results in the Carabao Cup, and of course those are the semi-finals, those are the first leg. There is a second legs, especially for Arsenal against Newcastle once more and Liverpool against Tottenham Hotspurs. You do know that the FA Cup rounds will be starting tonight and of course all the way to Sunday. And now back to our top story this afternoon is all about the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education. I want to take you back to Kisumu County, where we do understand our very own Simon Achola is currently at Mombasa Academy. Of course, we earlier saw on where the institutions were at least celebrating the results, given that they had been able to access the NEC website, which is the results.nec.ac.ke, to view the results of that particular institutions after the CS, that is Julius Migos Ogamba, was able to announce that particular website. And of course the institution has also been urged to get in touch with NEC. Now let's head over to Kisumu. Simon, good afternoon to you. Earlier on we witnessed in Mombasa Academy a little bit of celebration. Has the institution been able to access those results?
Thank you very much, Hashim. Indeed, we are at Mombasa Academy here in Vihiga County, and as you can hear behind me is actually excitement from students and of course teachers who are actually happy with the results that are actually trickling in. They are telling us they've actually been on the portal trying to download as many results from the 94 students that actually sat for the KCSE exams last year. And while the portal is a bit slow, but they're doing everything they can to ensure that indeed they actually get the results and put a meaning to whatever they'll actually have received today. But so far, they say there are a number of A's, A-minuses, and of course they feel that indeed the way the results are actually streaming in, they've done actually much better than what they did last year. We have the director of the school and of course the principal will actually just be telling us exactly what is happening. But director, how are you?
I'm excited.
Yet another day, of course, you are again excited, yes?
Yes, I'm happy that we've been able to get good results once again. Yeah.
Yes. What is the secret? We keep getting these results each and every year.
The secret is hard work and, of course, being so prayerful. Yeah, discipline and hard work is what keeps us going.
Looking at the results that are actually streaming in, where are we in terms of the results? Are they as good as what we witnessed last year? And how do you feel about the results this year?
The results look much better than what we had last year. I have my head teacher here. He can tell you a little more about that. Otherwise, we are so excited and we are happy. And thank you for coming to cover us here today.
Thank you.
That is Simon Achola conversing with the directors as well as school heads from Mombasa Academy. Unfortunately, we have run out of time. You will be able to inform us in our subsequent bulletins. And that marks the end of our bulletin. My name is Abdiaziz Hashim. The sign language interpreter at the bottom end of the screen is Brian Muraru. Good afternoon for now.
Public announcer. It is not Njayandik, it is Njanjanjatik. Can we go now back to the birthday party?
Yaani tuseme kukiwa na sherehe huwezi sherewa. Nachelewa mchinjiwe na nani?
What nonsense is this? What nonsense is this?
Shauri yao. Okay, so we go out and then we return to my house. Deal?
Yes, deal.
My heart is broken up, it's calling out your name.
Katika mlango wa kuwafanyia wazazi wema, tumeamrishwa tuwaheshimu na pia tuwakirimu na tuwazungumzishe kwa kauli za heshima na pia kauli zenye kuwaonyesha kuwa tunawapenda hata watakapokuwa wao ni wazee.
Na wazazi wawili kuwafanyia wema. Lakini mu'sifun jiddan, inasikitisha mno sana annajida tupate mtu na hiyo ndo wake. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina ya Mustafa.
Hello and welcome to Health and Lifestyle. My name is Marie Yambo. Always a pleasure to have you join us. Our social media handles at Marie Yambo at KBC Channel 1 on X and KBC Channel 1 TV on Facebook. The year 2024 saw a revamp of the health show, From Your Health to Health and Lifestyle, bringing you real life stories, expert take, word on the street, where we sample some of your opinion on some of the programs that we aired, and also a guide to a healthy lifestyle on good practice. We begin the year in review with a visit to Enso Sound Studio, where we learned how sound therapy is enhancing mental and overall well-being. But first, let's take a look at the transformative story of baby Joy, who was born with a cleft lip and palate. A group of surgeons gave her a new lease of life. For Raila Koth, the first few months of her daughter's life were filled with worry.
Wakati nilimzaa tu immediately vile niliambiwa confirm the baby, nika realize kuna kitu imeniguara kwa kifua. Kuangalia nikaona ni gap, akona gap. Kusema ukweli nilistuka. Juu sijawahi kitu kama hiyo since nizaliwe. It is my first time. So pressure ilipanda. Ikabidi nipelekwe kwa consultation room, nikakonsultiwa, wakawa wanapima pressure, wananiconsult hivyo, then wakanipeleka kwa room ya wale wenye wako na shida kama hii. Nikaona they are worst than mine. So nili take courage from there, nikakubali the baby. Nikaambiwa nijaribu kumnyonyesha, nikaona at least anashika matiti, anaweza vuta kidogo.
I had my first period when I was 14. And I remember it, and I was very overjoyed because that time, you're maturing, you're a girl. I had no pain. I never used to have cramps, even the normal cramps you get here on your abdomen. I never used to have them. The first time I experienced pain, ridiculous pain, was in 2010 there. I had shooting, stabbing pain on my back area. That is the bum area. And I remember I visited a gyna, but then that time endometriosis was not known. I remember I Googled the exact words, shooting, stabbing pain in the bum. And the first thing that came up was endometriosis. And when I told my gyna my symptoms, he said, this actually sounds like endometriosis, but he wasn't sure. So even the tests that he did, the scans, everything, it didn't show.
With my first two pregnancies, my tummy went back to normal. But with my third pregnancy, it was a really huge pregnancy. Oh my days, I looked like I'm carrying 4 babies. But it was just one baby, and it pushed my muscles so much. Initially, when I delivered, I had a lot of back pain. It was an emergency CS. The other 2 pregnancies are normal births, but this one was the last one was an emergency CS. So I was trying to figure it out, like it's my CS, because